Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Divine Feminine Energy channel. My name is Lynn, and on this channel we talk about all things related to spirituality, feminine energy, wellness, self-improvement, and I'm so glad to see you here. If you came back, welcome back. If you're new, it's a joy to meet you. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about the winter arc. So I saw the whole winter arc topics go viral on TikTok or YouTube. And I thought, you know what? I would like to bring a little bit of a spiritual perspective to the whole winter arc trend. The seasons, they talk to us. There's nothing more spiritual than nature. And seasons are a part of Mother Gaia, the earth, kind of talking to us. And the cycles of nature, of the earth, are also representing a very beautiful, divinely guided advice that we can take on as to how to align our energy with that Mother Gaia energy, with our highest good. Winter, in terms of the spirituality, when we think about winter, we think about animals, for example, that go into hibernation. And I believe that winter is that time where, from a spiritual perspective, we're guided to rest up a little bit more. We're guided to kind of work with the darkness, because winter is that time where it gets dark earlier on. It gets dark earlier on, we get less sunlight. There's a lot of the times there's more time that we spend in our homes by ourselves. And it kind of represents this time of introspection, of deep reflection, of how we deal with isolation. And I wanted to make this video, this winter arc guide, from a spiritual perspective on how you can utilize this winter period for your own highest good. In the winter time, where often winter energy can beautifully connect us to our feminine energy if we allow it to. Because our feminine energy is also this energy of introspection, reflection, coming into our intuition more deeply, sitting with our emotions, being able to slow down and nurture ourselves more deeply. In wintertime, we have an opportunity with more of the space that we may have because, less outside interactions, or less of, as well, the energy levels to constantly go out. We kind of have this opportunity from Mother Gaia, from Mother Nature. Can we sit with ourselves? Can we be okay in isolation? Can we embrace the darkness? There are a couple of journal prompts that I would like you guys to write on. If that's something you're interested in, I'll at least give the journal prompts to you that I feel like will help you stir up some deeper emotional energy. And you guys can also, if you want to have more of my journal prompts, I also sell them on my website, but these are just some journal prompts that you can work with. Ask yourself, how does solitude make you feel? What does it feel like for you to be by yourself? Is that a pleasant experience? Is it difficult for you to have this isolation that maybe not for everyone, but for a lot of people can be more prominent in winter? How does you being with you feel? How do you spend your time in isolation? What do you do when you're by yourself? And are these things that you're doing, are they helping your relationship with yourself? So do you find yourself, when you're isolated, looking for a distraction such as I have to game, or I have to go call someone, or I have to scroll on the internet? Or can you at times in isolation do something where you're quite present with yourself, such as whether it's a meditation or a self-care ritual? What does your relationship with yourself look like? These type of questions can kind of allow you to examine the relationship that you have with being alone. And being alone is a key component of the winter energy. And that will lead me to a follow-up question, because in winter we have this opportunity to kind of become our own bestie. We have this opportunity to spend more time with ourselves. At least a lot of us do. I do understand different people have different routines, but even if we can prioritize a little bit more of befriending ourselves this winter, in this winter arc, what does that look like for you to be your own best friend? How would you like to spend time with someone else? What would you like to do? And how can you do that this winter with yourself to deepen the relationship with yourself? So something that came up for me this winter is like, you know what? I always like to, for example, cook for other people. I like to learn more about that. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I need to spend a little bit more time nourishing myself, not just because of what I eat, but enjoying the process. And that could be a winter arc type of activity for me, or deepening my skincare routine this winter, because it's something you do for you. It's something to deepen the relationship to yourself. So after examining a little bit what that looks like to you, the relationship with yourself in isolation, and making a list on some activities that you can do for you this winter, there is a little bit more of a deeper step into your shadow work that I would want to advise you to do this winter to really glow up from within, because I do feel like winter, that time of reflection, it's an energy of a little bit of privacy. It's kind of what we do in the silence that will later become louder. So how do we glow up in private almost is that winter time? You know, it's kind of what we do behind the scenes, what we do in the shadows, that Mother Nature is asking of us in winter. Like, what are we going to be doing these days where it's a little bit more silent? Like, how are we going to utilize that time that we're given in more darkness? And how are we going to better ourselves without necessarily for the world to see right away? Like, how can you do that? And as much as we are guided to be in the shadows a little bit, so to be a bit more private, we're also asked, what is within our shadow? What is deeper seated within us that maybe we haven't taken a look at just yet? And shadow works, many of you may be more than familiar with it, and others of you may be relatively new to it. Shadow work is basically a spiritual way of saying, what are these deep-seated emotions that I haven't maybe fully taken a look at, that I've repressed down for years because they're a little bit too, a little bit too real for me to deal with. And that can be so many things. And often shadow work can come with emotions buried all the way from childhood, or traumas, wounds that we have had for a long time. It can be looking at certain parts of our personality, of our needs that we may not always necessarily want to address because they're not the prettiest to us, or we don't feel the most comfortable with these emotions or with these wounds, but we all have them. And our shadow is an incredibly powerful force. We cannot necessarily step into more light if we don't embrace our shadow. A lot of people want to go do this, light energy. I want to, become more magnetic, attractive, popular, but we need our shadow to bring more light, because what we basically do when we do shadow work is we shed light onto our darkness, and we are saying to ourselves, I embrace more of who I truly am. I'm also going to be working through the parts of myself that are less comfortable. So we all have these parts of ourselves that we're like, look at me, I kind of like this about myself. I am a person of this talent, or this habit of mine is really great. And that's good. But what about the parts that you wouldn't shout out from a rooftop? What about maybe an emotion such as anger or jealousy or deep sadness? We often say, I don't know her. I don't really want to deal with her. But self-love, the highest form of self-love, is doing that deep work and coming to terms with all that we are. So winter is such a good time for doing that. So I wrote down some soul-shattering shadow work prompts. So these prompts, again, you can grab a notebook or think about them when you're watching this video, and they can really stir up something. They can really help you come to some deeper emotions. And again, I said it in the first, I'll say it again. I have more shadow work prompts as well on my website. If that's something you want to do, you would maybe like to take a look at that. Am I happy and fulfilled right now? If not, what is standing in the way of my own happiness, and how do I contribute to that? Again, soul shattering. All jokes aside, this question is something that I believe we should ask ourselves at least once a month. Am I happy right now? Am I fulfilled? And maybe the answer is no. Maybe the answer is happiness is not a constant thing, right? How happy do I feel? How fulfilled do I feel? And asking yourself what is standing in the way from it and what your responsibility is in that. Because sometimes things are outside of our control. I'm not happy because someone I love isn't doing that well. Can you control that? Not completely. You might be able to say, okay, so I'm going to show up with some flowers at their door today. But you cannot fully heal that. But other things, like I'm not happy because I don't like my job. Maybe there is a question to ask, like, how do I contribute to that? Do I stick to things that I don't love? Do I not trust the universe enough to manifest something new into my life if I'm not happy? And these are all questions that will allow you to think about your deeper seated emotions. So I'm not going to try to fill them in for you, but I would love to invite you to write on that question. And the second question I have for you, what do I truly think of myself? Do I believe in myself? Belief is another huge shadow work factor. What are our beliefs? And what do we believe is possible for us or for the world or for other people? Any component of what comes up is just going to teach you a little bit more about what's seated underneath for you. Let's say the example of the job that we talked about. Do you believe in yourself? Maybe even more so, do you also believe in something outside yourself, like the universe or whatever you believe in? Do you believe that you are allowed to, or you're going to be safe in doing what makes you happy? Do you believe that you can do it? And if maybe your answer is no, that cannot happen, because write on all those things, because it'll show you exactly what those deeper beliefs are. And shadow work, again, it's about how we see ourselves, how we see the world, but also the beliefs that we have on things. If you continue to think deeper down, whether you realize it or not, you continue to have that belief that you cannot do something, then it will be very difficult for you to manifest it, to be happy in that. So you need to kind of sit and understand and see what your beliefs are. Do you believe you can have that job, that life that you want? And if not, take a look at it and see how you can transform that. Transforming a belief starts with knowing where it is, knowing what limiting belief is, and then maybe introducing a new one. So maybe you're going to start introducing a belief that the universe is working for you. You can do this. you're seeing this video because why else would you see a video like this if you're not advised and guided in some way to start believing in yourself? And the third soul-shattering shadow work question is, do I feel loved and seen by yourself, by others? And what makes you feel loved and seen? And what does not make you feel loved and seen? If the answer is yes, I feel loved and seen. I feel loved and seen because I have people around me who support me, who express their support to me. Or if the answer is no, I do not feel loved and seen. Where does that come from? And what do you need? What are your needs to feel loved and seen? Whether in a romantic relationship, platonic relationship with yourself. Because when we get so clear on our needs, like for me, it's like, I do not feel loved and seen if I am not with people that can give me consistency, right? And because I know this about myself, that I'm a slut for consistency. No, just kidding. But that's something I need. I am able to operate from more boundaries because I could see if someone continuously will not be consistent with me, that my needs and my ability to really feel loved and supported aren't going to be met by them. So this is when I know I need a boundary. So when you know your own needs, you're more able to articulate it to others as well. These are some really deep questions, and you should take your time with them, but it'll for sure show you something deeper seated. And doing that deeper seated work this winter is gonna glow you up from within in your winter arc and put you in a much lighter and better state by spring. At least in a state where you're more connected to your feelings and your authentic self. So that will lead me to the third point of the winter arc, and that is becoming okay with endings. Winter is the last cycle, right? The last season. And winter represents, from spiritual perspectives, endings, a bit of the void, but also closure, endings. So what are some things in our lives that we need to stop? We need to put an end to. And this is something to really think about, or at least be open to being shown. When we're asking ourselves these questions, you might even find yourself getting answers. Not necessarily just cognitively, but intuitively as well. So you may want to practice asking universe, or if you don't believe in that, maybe just like yourself, like, hey, girl, what do we need to quit? And see what comes up in the coming days. Endings are such a crucial part for manifesting new things. We cannot say, I want this job, this type of friendships, but cling on to the job that is not making us feel fulfilled, or cling on to the friends that aren't making us feel seen and loved. Because what you're doing is kind of showing the universe that you're still okay in your current manifestation, because you're not willing to let go of it. You're kind of saying, you know what? The universe will take it as I am happy where I'm at, or at least they will take it as I am not willing to let go of that yet. I'm not fully done in this cycle. I'm not fully done with these people or learning this lesson. And the universe is gonna test you a bit and be like, okay, then I'll wait before you're ready to let it go, before we bring in something new. And that's often what happens, right? So winter is asking you, what needs to end? Am I happy in my current friendships? Am I happy in my romantic relationships? Am I happy in my own habits? It's such a good time for tracking your habits. What do I need to stop doing? So if your answer is, I need to stop procrastinating, can you stop that in a day or two? No. What small steps can you take to do less of that this winter? And maybe that's like, you know what? I'm going to work out in the morning, because when I work out in the morning, I activate my brain and my body to do something. And then it's easier for me to be productive in the following hours. So you're gonna have to ask yourself, what needs to end? What do I want to enter into my life? And how can I do that in small steps? So as you've come clear on your endings, if you've come clear on your rebirth that you want to invite into your life by spring, because spring is where we see our seeds, like we plant our seeds, our seeds start to grow a bit. It's kind of what we do in winter that we can start seeing a little bit more of the rewards of maybe around springtime, right? So if you decide, I'm going to work towards that ending, I'm going to cut some people off in my life, I'm going to stop certain habits that I have, or certain, maybe your ways of eating, maybe you need to start eating a little bit more clean and stop eating as much sugar. Like, just imagine the mindset and the physical health you might be in by spring. Okay, so that's where we can really utilize this winter arc. And lastly, and I kind of want to bring this because I see, like I said in the beginning, I see all these winter arc. You have to wake up at 5 and on 7, hey, there's a pigeon outside my window. Hello. Maybe there's a messenger outside. I always feel like spirit speaks through animals and he is watching me from the window. And there he goes, a gray pigeon. Well, maybe someone tells me what you feel when something like that happens. For me, it feels like a messenger. However, let's talk about all this overproductivity that we're constantly bombarded with. Winter, wake up at 5, have breakfast at 6, do this at 7, and then like everything. I think winter is also a little bit about doing less. A little bit about doing less and being okay with doing less. I have this rule for myself, and people may say that that's lazy, but I don't wake up early. I sleep as much as my body wants to sleep. And that's my way of honoring my body. Doing a little less is that feminine art of receiving. So this winter, rest a bit more, sleep a bit more, be a little less overly active in your mind, and listen to your body and how you feel. And that is where this powerful feminine energy can start to grow so much. And from growing that feminine energy, you'll see that you're going to be receiving more. You're going to be really allowing yourself to nurture more, to soften more. And that's what winter can give us. So yeah, sleep a little bit more, be a little less harsh on ourselves, but also don't be afraid to look at the darkness, to look at what you're really feeling, and watch your life start to shift tremendously in these coming 90 days. There's something I can promise you, that's that. And if that's something you're interested in doing a little bit more of, I would advise you to come book a session with me. I have a 20% discount code. You can do an introduction with me if you want to get to know a little bit more about me, and we can work on it together. And really help you step into your most powerful, manifesting, magnetic self by awakening your feminine energy. I'm sending you guys so much love, and I hope you have a beautiful winter time. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.